trying to get a message across. Anyway, I'm trying again for the third time. I've actually come through the site that I usually use, which is called the One Church, which uses the key for me to be able to get on the broadcast inside. Well, earlier I talked about the healing power of God through the Spirit within us, which basically you won't have picked up on. It may have come up on the screen on the Facebook, but it's not actually broadcasted out, so my apologies for that. Right, so let's begin where I left off. Basically, what I want to talk about this evening is the idea behind the Spirit. We call it the Divine Providence, or God, or the Great Spirit, or if you're Jewish you would call it Yahweh, El Shaddai, or Elohim. El Shaddai means the big-breasted one, and refers to God in that way. Anyway, what I want to talk a little bit about tonight is about the healing side, in particular to do with the healing spirit within us all. Many people believe that you need to go to church to receive the Holy Spirit, or you need to go to church to receive communion, and that sort of seals it all in. It's what I call a package deal. It's almost like a fear people have, that they must go to church and they must get communion and all the rest of it. And in some ways it doesn't mean a thing. Communion really is just an exterior thing. It's actually what they would term in some churches as the outward sign of an inward grace, which in effect means that you've got to have the outward sign before you have grace within your spirit and your soul. Well, no, that's not true. Spirit within us gives us that sense of communion with God, and when we commune with God, it's in a way which is personal to each one of us. I know there are those people who think that when you commune with God you need to have somebody in between you and God, which to me is absolute rubbish. Whether it's a pastor or a vicar or it's a priest, he's only a man, or in some cases a woman, and it's not necessary. Your work or your communion with God is between you and God. It's nothing to do with anybody else. It's nothing to do with anybody else's opinions or their views. It's very much down to what you feel you're comfortable with. And also, this may be a little bit radical, I used to believe at one time that church was important, and yes, I'm an ordained minister, but bear in mind I'm a spiritualist humanist and not actually a Christian, as in inverted commas. I do believe there was a gentleman called Jesus Christ. I do believe that he lived on earth. I do believe that he had some special relationship with God, but that's as far as it goes. And it's quite a modern view, I know, but in some ways perhaps it's because of that view that I've got that I'm able to speak with some authority on this. I aren't new to faith, as some people have indicated that I've got some of my beliefs have been shaped by circumstances which our beliefs are. My beliefs were shaped after May this year, and I had a bit of a revelation, if you like. I don't mean that in a religious sense, but I began to understand more of the psyche of man and the way man and women think about faith and how they go about it. When you think and consider that you are born with a spirit, and that spirit stays with you all your life, and at the termination of your life, supposedly the spirit leaves the body. There again, that's another aspect to it that may be a little bit strange. Some people believe that, it's a physical spirit, that your body actually, you have what they call a body resurrection. I can't accept that. I believe if you're cremated, for example, your body ain't going to be around, is it? So it's your spirit within, the God spirit within, that ascends to the higher level or the higher plane, or to a different level of creation or thought, or a different level of consciousness, shall we say, depending on your faith. So it's quite important that we get this into perspective, that we realise that we don't need to have a church, we don't need a building. A building's got 4 walls and a roof, and that's about it really. There's other things go on there. I mean, we have the paraphernalia of having Holy Communion or the Mass or confession or whatever, and really it's nothing to do with faith in one respect. Faith comes from within yourself, it's something you have within your own being. A number of years ago, I went through quite a time when I had a thought about becoming a Catholic priest, and for obvious reasons I didn't. I got married, and you could be a Catholic priest if you got married anyway. That's what I did. And I thought about becoming a Methodist minister, I thought about all sorts of things. I went into details, but I didn't have the education they said to do so. Well, I don't agree with that either. I don't think education's important. I think what's important is the spirit within you. And I'm very impressed by the Quakers and their leader, who was called George Fox. In fact, I've just started reading a book that I read about 40 years ago called The Peaceable Kingdom, and it's very much based on the Fox story, and it's actually a fictional story, but it's based upon the idea that Fox had. He talked about churches as steeple houses, and he talked about priests as hireling priests. And it makes you think, really, that these guys must have been quite revolutionary in the time to come out with stuff like that, and that's probably why they were persecuted as they were. Persecution isn't a new thing with people who have a spirituality within themselves. It's not a new thing in spiritualism either. Many people think we talk to the dead, and it's highly amusing to me that I had a conversation with a clergyman at Wakefield Cathedral some years ago, and he made me smile when he said to me, "Well, you talk to the dead, don't you?" And I looked at him and I thought, well, you are an idiot, because you don't even know your own Bible. The Bible talks about the Holy Spirit descending as a dove on the apostles in the Acts of the Apostles, in the first chapter, in the second chapter, I'm corrected again, second chapter of Acts, and it says there they were all together in one place and the Spirit of God came upon them. And it made me think to myself, well, really, this character who was supposed to be a high-bound churchman in his surplice and his skirts, telling me what he thought I believed in, which I thought was highly amusing. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, this guy was obviously on the wrong track, and he shouldn't have been a priest at all when I think about it, because if he didn't believe in the resurrection of the Spirit as they teach in the church, what the dickens was he doing as a priest in the Church of England? And he was quite high up, this guy. I don't know whether he was in it for the right reasons. He might have been in it because it was just a job. It might have been something that he felt that he ought to do. It'd probably been better being a social worker, or if he wanted to really have communion with ordinary people, being a road sweeper. Nothing against people who are road sweepers. Some road sweepers are a blessing to the people around them. And I'm thinking about our brother Geoffrey, whose funeral it was the other day. He was a great blessing to everyone in Bradford, because he was such a simple man. He had a simple faith, and a friend of mine actually used to talk to him. A pal of mine on here actually used to talk to him. So it's quite important, really, that we see people as they are, and we see we know that they've got the Spirit within them. That we know they've got a Spirit there. And to me, it annoys me greatly when I think about people who go around telling them about Jesus and saying that they ought to be born again. I've noticed recently that some of these people, these characters, are going out, possibly into places like Wakefield on a night time, handing out tracts, particularly on a night when the clubs are open. And it's highly amusing to me, because I think, well, you're wasting your time. They're not interested. They're not interested in that sort of stuff. They may be interested in spiritual stuff, and maybe you can probably have a conversation, and I've done it myself. I've done it in a pub with a group of people, and it was quite an interesting afternoon. I did it when I was in hospital, when I was talking to one of the sisters until about 2 o'clock in the morning. This sort of thing goes on all the time. But I don't need a church to do it in. Oh yes, you notice on my picture on the Facebook that I actually wear a collar. I want people to bear in mind that I don't wear that because I'm a Christian, in the sense of being a Christian in that sense of the word, that I'm actually a minister, but that doesn't mean to say I'm a Christian minister. So let's get that out the window straight away and out the door, because I don't want anybody getting any misconceptions that because I use the title Reverend, that I'm actually a Christian minister. I'm not a Christian minister, I'm a spiritualist minister. Let's get that clear. So anybody that out there in Facebook land that thinks I'm a Christian minister, you're in for a bit of a shock, aren't you? Anyway, that's beside the point. The point I'm trying to make is that where God is involved and where Spirit's involved, we naturally have we have the ability within ourselves to find the God within us, or as the Quaker founder George Fox put it, peace at the centre, which I think is important to us all. So in many respects we need to know about communion with God. We need to be able to share that communion with others as well, and share that which was within our hearts and minds. I've got some wonderful people on Facebook who've got different ideas. Some of them have got Christian ideas, some of them haven't. I was highly delighted with some of the response that I put on last night about my mother. I had a lovely lady contact me who obviously was not had any sort of Christian thoughts. She talks about the God and the Goddess, and she was obviously involved with the Wicca side of faith. And the Wiccans are absolutely wonderful people. They really are. They believe in nature, which is of course, they believe in the God and the Goddess, and that's great. You know, let's not mock people for what they believe in. It's a very, very bad thing to do. We have nature religion in this country, far older than Christianity. Christianity was grafted onto certain aspects, like well dressing, and dare I say, Christmas, which in actual fact was a pagan festival, and was actually the rising, the coming of the sun, really. And it's important we recognise these things for what they are. So let's not get away from the idea of communicating with the Divine Spirit or the Divine Providence. It's so important that we do so. And wherever you do it, whether it's in a supermarket, whether it's in a nightclub, because I'm saying this tonight for the benefit of someone who actually knows out tonight, or anywhere else for that matter, it's not important. What is important is what you actually share with others. I think people who have spiritual faith, it would be nice if they did believe in spiritualism and believed in spiritual truths, to actually share it with people when they can. I can't see the problem with it. I talk about it as in a natural way, as if it's part of my life. And if it is part of your life, then it's a little bit of a challenge for you to do it. Not to sort of sit there and say nothing, but actually share it. I just heard the dog barking there. I think he's had enough. So I'll call it a good evening. And thank you for listening. God bless.